Hey, Matt, congratulations
Thank you.
on your first win.
Thank you.
I'm sure that made the flight back better. I wanted to ask you two quick things. One is about what you saw after you looked at the film on your red zone offense. And second is, how did you come up with the Sweet Caroline post game celebration? And will that be a regular thing?
Well, I'll start with the good one, the good part. Coach Foley's been with me for a long time, and Ed had started a tradition at Temple where we sang High Hopes at the end of every win, and then we went to Baylor, and the first 2 years we didn't do anything, and then Ed joined me the last year, and so the last year we sang both after a win, we'd sing I got the joy in my heart, but then Ed would get up and sing High Hopes there. And it was there's a great video that we put out. The kids had no idea what the song was. And by the end of the year, they were crushing it because we were fortunate enough to win enough games. So he got up to sing. A lot of guys started singing High Hopes thinking that's what he was going to do. And he told me today, he goes, I got it. And we're going to sing Sweet Caroline. So that was all Ed Foley. He's one of the great personalities in football. If you get a chance, you should go back and watch his motivational talks when he was the interim head coach at Temple before the Independence Bowl. He's a tremendous speaker, tremendous guy, and the team. I think you could see a team that was into it, so it was pretty fun. So that was all Ed. In terms of our red zone offense, I just think you see a bunch of missed opportunities, and really our inability to run the football. If you want to score in the red zone, you have to run the ball. And they got in the end zone against us. Just a very simple play. We've got defenders there. They make us miss touchdowns. Same thing happened last week. And our inability to run the football and then some missed opportunities in the passing game, really, that game could have been a much different game. We could have scored a lot more points. So I'd say overall situational offense, both third down and red zone, let us down at times. To counteract that, I thought how clean we played in terms of penalties and turnovers allowed us to win the football game. But the inability to run the football and missed opportunities would be the two things in the red zone that I saw.
Going back to that post-game scene, Teddy told us that you got the game ball, and we saw the video of that. What did that mean to you? Where is it going? And going back to Scott's question, is there anybody who impressed you in terms of their singing ability?
I just it was pretty good. In my mind, I can just see Dante Jackson in the front singing, kind of figuring out the song as it went. And then I think when it got to the end where they were like, sort of touching you, they figured it out. And obviously the game ball, and I think the one thing that Shaq said I think is really important. He said that this game ball goes to all the coaches, and since we won, I'll say this, to do what the guys have done, to come in, to hire a brand new staff, to turn over a lot of the roster and be competitive in 2 games, and then find a way to go win. I think it's a real credit to our coaching staff. It's a real credit to our players. And so I got the game ball, but really they deserve it. They've hung in there. They've done a great job over the course of 2 weeks. And I'm one of those guys. I walked in here today, to me, the game's over, the fun of it's over. I'm on to the Cardinals. Obviously we're going to try to clean up this game, learn from it. And I think the biggest key for this franchise right now is that we are as critical in a win as we were last week in a loss. That is the key. And so in our coaches meeting so far today, we've been very, very critical of ourselves, of the coaching, of the play, of the execution. And I'm sure our players, as we meet with them here in a little bit, they'll do the same thing. And that'll allow us to get better for next week.
Let's go to David Newton and then Miles Simmons.
Yeah, Matt, congrats on the win. 2 things. One, Teddy talked about a team meeting last week where it was all about getting to know each other. I think that was players only. What did you see coming out of that meeting? How important was that? And I have another question after that.
Sure. Yeah, and that wasn't players only. We were in there. Okay. So Rhule Douglas has been, you talk about a tremendous addition. To get him, he came in and played after 3 or 4 days. But after last week, man, after the Buccaneers lost, it was a kind of a painful Monday for everybody. There was a lot of there was a lot of critical and crucial conversations, to say the least, where guys were saying what they felt. And I always encourage that. I believe in that. And, Rhule hit me up afterwards, and he was just like, you know what, coach, like, it doesn't feel real close. Like, and it's just because we don't really know each other yet. We've had these masks on, we're sitting 6 feet apart. He's like, I just, I play better when I'm playing for somebody. So he suggested, it was his suggestion. He suggested we have some guys get up and just share a little bit about themselves. So we did that on Thursday, and we did it again Saturday night. And I think when you hear what people have been through, or when you hear what people have sacrificed to go out and play the game for you, you appreciate it. So I think that's just one small part of it. I think the football was better, the execution was better, but I also felt like we played as a team, and that was the fun part of that game. Was that it was, the defense gets a turnover, and then Shaq's standing right next to me. He goes and gets his corrections, but he comes over and stands right next to me. He's cheering on the offense. I felt like we played as a team, and if we can keep that up, there's going to be highs and lows in every game and every season, but when you know that you're in it together, it has a way more powerful feeling.
And the second question, not so fun question, the missed tackles and the yards you guys are giving up after that initial contact. How much is there concern about that moving forward?
Yeah, it's the biggest issue we have right now. I mean, and it's been 2 weeks, 3 weeks really of just angles, and we knew coming into the game that Eckler's a great player, right? So I want to make sure I always credit great players, but really, it's just a belief in running to the ball in a certain way. It's not like we're just like missing tackles, I mean, there's some that are like that way, but in football, sometimes you're going to miss a tackle, but you have to miss it at the proper leverage, right? Like if you're outside and you miss the tackle inside, that's where all your help is. But if you miss it outside, there's no one there. And then conversely, if you're inside the ball carrier, you can miss it outside because you have the sideline there, but you can't miss it inside. And we're just not running great angles yet. That being said, I want to make sure I say this. We played so hard and fast yesterday, and guys flew around. Like when you watch the tape at a level, we haven't done yet this year. And so I'm fired up about that. One of the negatives when you play really hard is you have to then adjust your angles a little bit. And so we'll get better at it this week. That's something I can feel very certain of, that we will be way better tackling this week than we were last week, because we made a huge step in terms of pressure, in terms of effort running to the ball. And I think now our guys will see the angles matter.
Matt, what did you see from your left tackles in replacing Okung yesterday?
That was the key to the game from in my mind on offense. I mean, Greg Little went out and was ready for the challenge. Trent Scott, I mean, he's been playing right tackle all camp and then left guard, and he goes out, he plays left tackle, and as we said, we kind of want to rotate those guys and keep them fresh. They haven't played a full game. And matter of fact, as I was walking here, I just saw Trent. I thanked him again for his effort. I thought that was the key to the game. Chris Reed came in, played his first game, played the whole game. But those two tackles, I mean, they're playing against Bosa. They're playing against some really good players. And I thought Joe did a great job. And really our tight ends and running backs did a great job. Mike Davis, Ian Thomas, Chris Manhertz. I mean, they chipped and helped out our tackles out. But really proud of Greg. I think that's what Greg needed. He needed to get in there and play. And really proud of Trent. I mean, he was a great addition. When he got waived, Pat came to us and said, "Hey, I'm just telling you, you guys are going to love this guy," and we certainly do.
We'll go to Joe Person for the next question, followed by Josh Klein.
Hey, Matt, I'm sure you kind of heard the narrative surrounding this team pretty much from the time you were hired. Was the whole idea of a rebuild. And some of it, I think, was kind of the result of some comments that David Tepper made even before you were hired, and that this is going to take some time, so on and so forth. Just wondering your take on that, and specifically, is that something you ever had to address with the team?
I've never addressed that with the team. I would like to think that if they're around me every day, that they know that I want to win. We had a lot of changeover. We had a lot of turnover, And some of that's very painful because when you coach players or as a fan, when you watch players, like you love them, like you want them to be around forever, but you have to do what you have to do. So I've never used the word rebuild. I've just said we got to build. I mean, when they hire you to do a job and you come in and you look at it, and the last 2 years, you've had losing streaks. In the last 2 years, you haven't won. You say to yourself, okay, well, we're not where we want to be. It's nothing bigger than that. It's not like we got to do this. It's just, you're like, well, the franchise is not where it wants to be. So we have to build. And so, we tried to do some things with the roster. We tried to have a good draft. I think when you watched Derek Brown play yesterday, there was a little bit of a narrative out there last week. I heard about him, like, just if you watch the tape, Derek Brown's a really good player. And I think when you see Chin and Gross Matos, you say, wow, I think Marty nailed the draft last year. I mean, I think they're young, but they're going to be good. And so I just think we're building, Joe. You know what I mean? We're just trying to get better and better and better. And, but I think the biggest thing is I can say a lot of things to the team, but when they come in at, and they see Phil Snow in the office at, 5 o'clock in the morning, when they see Joe Brady here at midnight, when they see, they know that we're trying to win. And there's never been one part of us. We've had to do a lot of things to get to this point. There's never been one part of us that said like, hey, you know what? Let's I don't know. Let's not try to win this year. I mean, I want to win. If you saw that locker room scene, you could tell that how much this team wants to win. And I hope you felt some sense of togetherness, which is only after 3 games. So imagine, if we can continue to build off that, in terms of the feeling you get from this team. And my biggest goal all year has been, I wanted this to be a team that people said, boy, I like watching the way that they play. It's not always perfect, and we turn the ball over against the Buccaneers, but like we play hard, you know what I mean? And we don't quit. We play together. So like, I know people will like say, I like this team, I like that team. But if you don't like this team, I like this team a lot. I like watching the way we play. And so I look at people in North Carolina, look at people in South Carolina, when they pay money to go to a restaurant and watch us play, someday when they get back in the stands, I want them to be proud of the way that we do things. We're not going to win every game, but we're going to try to win. So there is no, to me, like, hey, let's gut the team. We came into a situation, we're trying to make it better.
Hey, Matt, yesterday it seemed like there was, I don't know whether it was more blitzing or just more noticeable, but what do you see from Justin Burris and Jeremy Chin in terms of their ability as a blitzer, and what do you like about the differences that those guys offer?
There was a little bit more pressure, but not a ton. They're just a little different, if that makes sense, and maybe a little easier to see. We pressured last week a lot. The problem with Brady's, man, we pressured him, the ball was out. And to Justin Herbert's credit, late in the game, we pressured him and the ball was out. I just think we blitzed better. You know what I'm saying? I thought, Chin came and had a great hit on Herbert. I thought, Burris played his best game. Really excited about Justin and what he showed. Trey came off the edge one time and hit the quarterback. So I think, according to, one of those websites or whatever, the analytics guys gave me, I think we had 2 sacks and 22 pressures. So obviously we didn't have 22 pressures last week. So it was a different deal. That being said, it's also game flow. You're up 2 scores. They can't just catch the ball and throw it right away. They've got to hold the ball and try to get it down the field. So a lot of things to me worked together, but I think we're just blitzing better. We're getting more comfortable. We're showing a little bit more like, hey, we're showing a blitz, then we're running out and the other guy's coming. So we'll have to just continue to build off that, because there's a lot of really good quarterbacks in this league. And if you don't get pressure, you have no chance. And so I thought the pressure we got this past game was the reason why we had a chance to win. And this week, we have Kyler Murray. I mean, that's a difficult task because he's so athletic and so fast and so quick and has such a great release. So we'll have to take another step in terms of our pressure package.
If I can just follow up on that real quick, is that ability to blitz and the way that they come off the edge, is that something that you looked for in players when you're bringing them in, whether it's free agency or the draft?
Yeah, I think it's a skill. And obviously the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. But I do think there's guys who have the ability, and really what you're talking about is like when you blitz and you're unblocked, I mean, that just comes down to speed. But what you're looking for is when you blitz, one of the reasons why you blitz is you're trying to create one-on-ones, right? Where, the tackle has to block the end and that with no help, or the tailback has to block the blitzer. And so you're looking for guys with violent hands. You're looking for guys that can lean and dip. You're looking for guys that can, change their level in terms of be high and then be low. So those are all skills that I think you're looking for as you look at players and their ability to pressure.
Next, we'll go to Mike Solarte and then Brett Jensen.
Thanks, Preston. Coach, congratulations on that first one. Earlier you talked about being critical after wins, just as critical after wins is just critical after losses. How does the win yesterday and the long flight back and all the good feelings, have you seen in your past experiences that momentum kind of carry over and guys lock in on the critical aspects and the corrections to improve and keep a win, keep one win and make it into two and then into three and that sort of thing?
Well, I think the situation that we're in where, again, it was a lot of losses in a row. And so that can start to weigh on you. So I think getting that narrative gone is one thing. And I think it's a new process. It's new practice schedules. It's new meetings. And so it's like, hey, does this work? And all of a sudden you go out and you do it well and it works. And you're like, all right, well, let's go do it better this week. There's two sides to winning. Sometimes you win and you can become really complacent, but I don't think we're in any way, that's not the team that we are right now. I mean, we're just trying to go 1-0 this week. And so my message to our team is very simply going to be take what you did last week and do it better this week. And that's what I said last week. We lost the Buccaneers and I said, hey, take what we did in practice and all the good things that we did and build off it and try to do it better this week. So we're never going to panic. We're never going to change what we do. We're just going to try to do it better and better and better. And I really believe that, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. There's teams winning in the league with a 3-4. There's teams winning with a 4-3. There's teams winning by blitzing. There's teams that play, two coverages. It's not really what you do, it's how you do it. And so just trying to get our guys to buy into that and just be a little bit better this week. And it starts in these meetings this afternoon. It starts with us looking at the film as if we lost. And if you can do that, if you can look, prepare, like you lost and then go play like you won, you always have a chance.
If you allow me a follow-up, as the coach and new staff and the new turnover and everything else, the satisfaction of saying our system works. I mean, if you guys buy in, this can be the result. Is that what's the gratification factor for you and your coaches?
Well, I mean, I think, we're here. So we have complete confidence. We know what we do works. I think for our players, because, at the end of the day, players are on this journey too. Right. And so to see the guys, last week was our best week, and to see them come away with a win from it was awesome. It's like I was walking off the field with Russell Okung before the game. And I said, hey, do you want to say something to the team? Because it's the Chargers and he's a captain and he was there last year. And he said, no, we're ready, coach. And then I said to Rhule, because I talked earlier about Rhule, I said, do you want to say anything to the team before the game? Any thoughts? And he said, no, we're ready. And, that was really powerful that they knew that they were ready. And they were ready not because of some great speech or because we watched the highlight video. They were ready because they had prepared and they knew that they were going into this game prepared to go play at a high level. And that to me was a great lesson. And hopefully they build off of this week and they go prepare like crazy for this week. And then, the game hopefully will come down to the fourth quarter and hopefully we make one more play like we did this week.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Matt, I want to piggyback off of what Joe Person was asking you earlier about philosophies and all that stuff. When you went to Temple, obviously they were down program. When you went to Baylor, many thought it was maybe the worst situation since the 80s of SMU coming back from their program. David Tepper said after that first meeting with you that he knew immediately that you were the guy. Do you have outlines? Do you have here the philosophies? Here's how we're going to do this. I mean, because obviously when a coach goes into a new situation, they're taking over because the previous regime didn't do too well. So what is your philosophy about all that stuff? Because obviously, you're used to doing this.
I think for me, I think it's just a couple of stages, right? You want to make sure you have the right people. You want to go get the right people, the right staff, the right support staff, and the right players. And I would, we run conditioning on Wednesdays at the Carolina Panthers, and our players get up there and they run, and then the coaches run. And I think if you walked out there and you saw, Claire Burke, who's the assistant to the general manager, if you saw Donnie Toner, who's been here forever, and they're all out there running, you would say, wow, they've got a great group of people. And so I think the first step is getting the right people. And then the second step is establishing the foundation of what you believe in. People win a lot of different ways. We want to be a tough, hardworking, competitive group. And so you're trying to build that foundation of how you do things. And then you want to get the football right. So the football's not right yet. We're working at it. But I think it's just really those three stages, right? And then, you want to become a close team. You want to become a team that plays for each other. But it's really, to me, it's just about not panicking and at the same time not getting complacent, just waking up every day and, as corny as it sounds, just being a process-oriented guy and saying, hey, I want to get better today. I want to maximize today. And that's what you guys do every day. You guys wake up and you guys have your jobs and you want to go out and be great at your job. And that's what we're trying to do, be great at our job. And we don't panic when we lose, and we don't, act like, like everything's easy when we win. And if you do that, then you have a chance. And so that's what we did at Temple. That's what we did at Baylor. And the gratifying thing about those places was the guys who won a championship were the same guys that we didn't win very many games with. So we got better with them. And then we came here and we tried to get the best roster we could, the best guys we could. And I like our team. I like our guys. They play hard. They practice hard. They're thoughtful men. They think about issues outside of football. They have tremendous purpose in their lives. They're fun to be around. There's no issues. And we go out and play. And so we're just trying to do the same thing, and we'll get better and better. That's my only goal, is just to be better. Like, I hope we win a lot of games, but at the end of the day, like, Marty said it to me the other day. He said it was Friday. We're walking off the field. He goes, I know this. We're better this Friday than we were last Friday. And that's the key to me, is just this Friday coming up, or this Saturday coming up. I want to go into the game on Sunday feeling like, hey, we're better than we were last week.
All right, guys, we only have time for one more, so let's go to Joe for the final question.
Yeah. Hey, Matt, just more of a mundane question. How is Dante and Shaq look like he had to come off the field late in that game?
Yeah, I probably won't know till Wednesday. I know those guys are all in seeing the doctors this afternoon. So I gave the guys a later start today just because, or I shouldn't say later start, but I got rid of all the morning lifting and put it in the afternoon just because of the late flight we got in. I got to my house about 2:30, so I'll probably have a better feel Wednesday in terms of how they're feeling.
Can you say at least what each of them was dealing with, like body part?
Yeah, well, Shaq was, I just think, just his neck a little bit. I say a little bit because I don't really know what how severe it was, and then I think Dante's was his foot toe area.